AI analyzed over 2 million workout programs and was asked, what's the fastest way to build muscle? It didn't say, eat more protein, lift heavier, or sleep more. It said,
bullshit. It said like a lot of bullshit. Even this intro is bullshit. Writing off sleep and protein. I mean, assuming that your training is above the threshold of just dumbassery, then protein intake and sleep are arguably more important than every nuance discussed in this video. I'm Tori McFall. I'm an engineer who separates signal from influencer noise and reduces physique transformation to the few decisions that actually move the needle.
AI saw something amazing. 2 people could do the exact same workout, same weight, reps, and sets, but one would grow and the other wouldn't.
Bullshit.
Bullshit? Bullshit.
There's never been a study to show that one group failed to get growth because they didn't nail their rest interval.
Because it came down to one thing, rest timing. How long you rest controls how strong you are for the next set. And that strength is what tells your muscles, grow. Data showed the best rest time was 60 to 120 seconds between sets. If you rest less than that, you don't fully recover. You'll lift less and do fewer reps. But if you rest too long, your muscles cool down and they stop feeling under attack. In both cases, this means you'll build muscles significantly slower.
Okay, this is incorrect and it overgeneralizes a bit. When it comes to heavy compound lifts, so deadlifts, squats, especially if you're really pushing it, longer rest periods and some studies have shown greater hypertrophy. But the main rule that goes through everything you do is that your hypertrophy, muscle growth, is going to be just correlated to the number of difficult sets that you perform over the course of a week. So this stuff is just kind of in the noise, except for maybe for programming. So once you know that like almost all the studies show that there's equal hypertrophy, even with very short rest intervals for things that are less systemically fatiguing. And when I say systemically fatiguing, I'm talking about your nervous system, your cardiovascular system, respiratory. You're just tired. You know, if you do a heavy set of squats, you're gonna need some time. But if you do an isolation or you're doing dumbbells or machines, especially isolations on machines, you can get away with things like myo reps. And in fact, just from a practical standpoint, that's the way I like to program. So you can start with something heavy, a heavy compound lift, and take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, even 5, if you want, on that lift. But then you're gonna eat up like half your workout doing that. And that's fine. And especially if you care about strength, then you want to recover enough to be able to practice using your strength close to maximally. When it comes to finishing up your workout and making sure that you're milking all the hypertrophy you can out of it, I would say then switch to machines, switch to isolations, and I'll do myos where I count 10 to 15 breaths and then I'll go right back into it. And the studies on that show that you're getting equal hypertrophy. You're actually not losing anything in terms of muscle growth at that point. And this idea that if your muscles cool down too much, you're gonna like leave gains on the table, it's bullshit. You might want to keep things going just for the sake of getting through your workout, but there's no studies that show that your muscles need to be under constant attack in order to grow.
The fastest gains came when people trained close to failure, just 1 to 2 reps before their muscles gave out. Now, what's insane? In one study, trained individuals were asked to stop a set when they thought they were 1 rep from failure. You know what happened? Most still had 3 to 5 reps left in the tank.
Okay, so this one's actually not bullshit. You do want to get within 3 reps of failure for it to be considered a hard set. And as we just said, it's the number of hard sets that you complete in a week that are the main driver of hypertrophy. So, I have trouble believing that in their study that it was truly trained lifters that had 5 reps left when they were estimating that they were 2 or 3 reps shy of failure. But it brings up, the debate between volume and intensity. There's no arguing that number of difficult sets is what drives it. I think that a lot of the intensity guys, they see how some of the volume focused lifters are lifting and they just think that the intensity is not there.
People use and cherry pick and find studies to make excuses to not train hard.
Maybe they're right. Maybe we underestimate that. Maybe a better metric than trying to estimate 2 or 3 reps in reserve is just stop before you do the ugly rep. I think that's what I end up doing a lot of times. I'm trying to keep a couple reps in reserve, but really things slow down and I know when I'm at a point where the next rep is going to be ugly and it would be my last rep, and I stop before that one.
Muscles need about 48 hours to recover before they're hit again. So the fastest muscle growth happened when people trained each muscle 2 to 3 times per week, aiming at 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week. You can also increase your total weekly volume. If you're doing 12 sets per week for the chest, move to 14, but don't go beyond 20 hard sets per muscle per week. More than that can slow recovery and reduce growth. That's all it takes.
Okay, once again, there's fewer drivers than people would think. Again, what did we say? We said that it was the number of difficult sets that really drives hypertrophy when it comes to training. So it doesn't matter if you work out 2 or 3 times per week. It's in all the studies that compare different workout splits where the number of difficult sets were the same, hypertrophy was the same. So the rest period argument, another error that it makes is it's just kind of overgeneralizing in terms of how many sets are optimal. There are some muscles, forearms, calves, for example, abs, that you can get more optimal growth going beyond 20 sets even. And there's some where less is going to be better. Things like quads and glutes and hamstrings, big muscles, might need more recovery. And if you want to check it out in my system that's linked below, 75 Days to Shredded, I actually have charts and things in there that are muscle by muscle, so that if you want to calculate your volume for different muscle groups and get it absolutely optimal based on the studies, it's there.
Now, here comes the question. How heavy should you lift to build muscle? AI finally busted one of the biggest myths in fitness industry, that you need to lift super heavy to get results.
Did AI just solve the biggest fitness myth, or did we all already know that you don't have to train heavy to get hypertrophy? All the studies show it's just number of difficult sets. And if you get within that couple reps of failure by going heavy, or if you do it by going with more volume and higher reps, lighter weight, it doesn't matter. Hypertrophy is similar. Now, where it does make a difference is power. You know, if you want to be able to lift heavy things, you have to have the skill of lifting heavy things. And you get that skill by practicing lifting heavy things. And practically, even though I'm not a power lifter, I did a little bit of it back in the day, I do start my workouts that way because I'd like for some of this strength to transfer over and not just be for looks. So I will, if I'm doing squats or bench press, I'll go a little heavier and, I push it a little harder. My rest intervals are a little longer, but I know I'm not getting any additional hypertrophy from doing it. I'm just doing it because it's also kind of fun to be strong. But once I'm systemically fatigued from that, I switch over to those isolations that we talked about earlier. I push things a lot faster, a lot lighter weight, because I know the hypertrophy will be the same.